Welcome to Friday Night Readers. Fueled by coffee, we break down the books referenced on Gilmore Girls. Our little literary corner of the world helps you understand what the characters are talking so fast about and live in a world of books like Rory. Like short, read fast. Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to our Friday Night Readers newsletter community on Substack. You'll get instant access to a free printable list of 450 plus books on Gilmore Girls. Plus, even more Gilmore-inspired content, like our Rory Gilmore Reading Challenge, which we've been doing together since 2020. Come hang out where the real Gilmore magic happens. FridayNightReaders.substack.com.
Hello, Friday Night Readers. It is graduation season, and so it's got me thinking about Rory Gilmore's graduation speech. I wrote 2 posts about it. One is a literary guide, diving deep into all the books she referenced in this iconic speech. And then it got me thinking, if I were to do a graduation speech, what are the books that I would say shaped me? So that is a Substack post, and the other one is a blog post. And I'm going to go through the Substack post with you today, kind of like an audio overview. And I think it's just going to help us connect a little bit more deeply on these books that shaped me and hopefully help you think about what has shaped you. So I start the post by saying that graduation season brings such a wave of emotions, and there's pride and joy. And for me, who's way past that time in my life, it's more like the comfort of nostalgia. And I think we all can sense some relief, whether we're in it or whether we're past it, when it comes to graduations. And then when you add to it the way that we feel about our favorite books as readers, I think that's why the literary guide that I did to Rory Gilmore's graduation speech has gone viral on Instagram. I will link that in the show notes as well. So on Gilmore Girls, you may recall that Rory took to the podium at her Chilton graduation, and she showed gratitude for 2 worlds. One was a world of family, where she thanked her grandparents and her mom, and the other one is her famous world of books. You may recall that she talked about strolling down Swan's Way, sailing a raft with Huck and Jim, and of course, her favorite book, Riding a Train with Anna Karenina. I linked her full graduation speech and what all of the literary references mean in the Substack post in the show notes. What I took from this is that books were not just a hobby for Rory or a school assignment or even an escape. They were something that shaped her. And this got me thinking about the books that shaped me into an avid lifelong reader who is exactly Rory's age, and how I would share them if I were to give a hypothetical graduation speech. So if I were to give a speech like Rory's, what I would say is I rode the Polar Express, I lived history with Molly McIntyre, I was a member of the Babysitters Club, I navigated puberty with Margaret Simon, I traveled to Steinbeck's, California with the Trasks and the Hamiltons. I played Quidditch with Harry, Ron, and Hermione. I explored the afterlife with Susie Salmon. I made brilliant friendships with Leela and Elena. I took fashion inspiration from Holly Golightly. And I sat outside the Dutch house with Maeve and Danny. So if you don't know what those books are, this is why they made a difference to me. The first book that stamped this eternal impact on my mind and on my heart was The Polar Express. Even if you didn't read the children's book, maybe you know the movie today. And what I got from it and its illustrations, which are so beautiful, is an early belief that you can feel magic through the words on a page. When I think back to my childhood, I can still remember myself in my grade school library every week checking for it just to make sure it was there and it was okay, like it was a human. So then the American Girl books helped me learn history, and this was in a way that left me with not just knowledge about it, but also an understanding. So through Molly in particular, I was able to tap into my own family histories during World War II. I had one grandfather who survived Pearl Harbor and another one who survived Normandy. So of course we heard these stories over the years, but I didn't really understand it until I read these American Girl books. And then the Babysitters Club books gave me this sense of literary community. And this is when you're a preteen and friendship in school can be kind of tough. So through them, I found this group of ambitious, creative preteens like myself, and I just wanted to befriend them and live near their Connecticut town of Stony Brook. I think that this and the Gilmore Girls have forever made me think of Connecticut as this completely idyllic place. But anyway, my nose was practically glued to the pages of dozens, if not hundreds of these books. I went through them like water. And of course, what literary teen girl did not learn about puberty from Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. I think that the legacy of Judy Blume is that she is able to share the thoughts that usually live only in the minds of kids and teens. And this gives us a sense of empathy that is exactly what we need. It's the things that we can't say ourselves. Moving along to required reading in high school, East of Eden by John Steinbeck, which, by the way, is coming out on Netflix soon and has been so popular in recent years on social media, was the first book that made me want to visit a book setting in real life. It's an epic family saga with biblical references, but what really got me is how Steinbeck transports you to something that's known as Steinbeck country. This is Salinas Valley, California. And being Rory's age, I read it in a time when you couldn't just look it up on the internet. Now, while not quite the same, I recently visited Napa Valley, and I was thinking of him and his stories the entire time. As far as Harry Potter goes, I did not get into them until adulthood, but I immediately grasped their power to so many millions of people. And they earn their place here, although I know the author is very controversial because they bring such holistic experiences. There have been many Halloweens where we've dressed as the characters. We've had butterbeer tastings, and we even played Quidditch virtually with the whole gang in Hogwarts at Universal Studios. Yes, you do feel like you are flying around Hogwarts in the ride that is this whole immersive virtual experience. My husband was sitting next to me yelling, "This is so cool." And of course, the entire park makes you feel like you're there as well. And you also get to ride on the Hogwarts Express. Now, moving along to when I was in law school and looking for books during summers, I picked up an edge of your seat thriller from a clearance bin, just thinking I would get a salacious page turner, but I ended up forever viewing crime differently after reading The Lovely Bones by Alice Sebold. It's told from the perspective of a young, brutally murdered girl, Susie Salmon, as she's making her way through the afterlife. And this perspective really shifted my approach of these types of books and even real life stories, from seeking salaciousness to observing from a distance how people cope with dark moments in their lives. Next is my favorite book of all time. It was actually the #1 book of the 21st century in the New York Times as well. My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante, and this one placed me directly in the heart of a post-World War II Neapolitan community. And you live there with them. Notice how I say live there as though I actually did over the course of decades. And it allowed me to understand how education and the lack thereof can shape women's lives. This richly drawn setting and an entire neighborhood of characters, particularly the two friends at the core, Elena and Leela, my friends as well, really made me part of their very up and down world. Next, we have Holly Golightly from Truman Capote's Breakfast at Tiffany's, and she isn't just a literary character, she is a fashion icon. And yes, this is thanks largely to the classic adaptation, but her elegant sense of style was actually the inspiration for my own wedding day. My dress had that very high boat neckline, like her famous black dress. And lastly, The Dutch House by Anne Patchett. This is my ride or die book. It is the one book that I will go to bat for. It is the one hill I will die on, like it's a real person. It's one of the best audiobooks I've ever listened to out of hundreds. And that is thanks to the narrator, Tom Hanks. In it, the bond between the siblings, Maeve and Danny, felt so palpable that I still envision myself sitting outside their childhood home with them each Thanksgiving, reminiscing about the past like they did. Next, I'm wondering what books shaped you. It is your turn. I'd really love it if you take a minute today, stop your scroll, and reflect. This is something that is simple but so powerful in your literary life. Head to the Substack post in the show notes that accompanies this audio and tell me what books shaped you. And I'd especially love it if you leave a comment in the style of Rory's speech. I know this kind of stuff takes time, but I have found it to be so impactful, not just in my reading life, but in my real life, in how I read and how I write and how I think. It has made such a big difference in an age of brain rot. So head over there to live in a world of books like Rory Gilmore and have a great graduation season.
Thanks so much for listening to Friday Night Readers. I love having you here in our little corner of the Gilmore Girls world. If you'd like even more feel-good fun, then upgrade to a free or paid email subscription membership at FridayNightReaders.substack.com. Paid members get exclusive extras like our guide to the books on Gilmore Girls, broken down by episode. You'll also unlock members-only posts, as well as full community access to our chats. It's the coziest virtual place like Stars Hollow, and your support helps keep this podcast going strong. Lastly, if you enjoyed today's episode, please take a minute to rate and review the show. It helps other Gilmore fans find us, which helps me provide you with more content like this. Until next time, life short, read fast,